Okay, do you mind telling me your name and where you live?
Kelly Stevens, and my wife Sandy and I live about 6 miles or so south of Milan, between 67 and Ridgewood Road. So
awesome. All right, do you guys mind kind of backing up and tell me a little bit about what your kitchen was like before we took on this project?
Well, the house was built in 1982, and it was built like homes were in 1982. There wasn't a great room. It was basically a lot of small rooms with a network of hallways connecting everything. So it was a nice place. We've had it since 1986, I guess. So it was a good place to raise 2 kids, but we wanted it to open up more. So it wasn't open, and it wasn't light. It was a nice home, but it wasn't what we wanted.
Yeah, it was kind of chopped up. Tell me about the cabinets that were in here before.
The cabinets, I actually had redone the cabinets and put them in. They didn't go all the way to the ceiling, and they were just a hickory cabinet, just base units and wall cabinets. But the flow of the kitchen, there was another closet over here, so it was almost like a hallway when you came in, and it was just cramped corners. There was a header that went through here in the dining room over on this side, but the cabinets were. We ended up keeping the cabinets because I liked them for, they're storage cabinets downstairs, but they weren't nearly as nice or as functional as the new cabinets. We had a built-in pantry, and there's just so much more room in the cabinets that we have now than what we had before. It's like I said, we were talking earlier, there's just a lot more room with what we have now. Basically the same, probably cabinet space what we had before, but they're just the rollouts and whatnot. They just make things so much more functional.
Yeah, and I remember there was that wall almost going right through here, and then your living room was chopped up by like 2 other walls, and now it just feels a lot more open.
There were 2 fireplaces. We had a wood stove downstairs. We replaced that a few years ago with a gas fireplace, and loved it. I grew up with wood heat and thought I would never replace it, but I was wrong, but the 2 fireplaces that we had, we rarely used, and there was a wall that went right through here, and with another wall that came that way with closets and stuff on it. So we took out the 2 fireplaces, replaced it with a fireplace similar to the one that we have downstairs, and the header that came through here, it was basically just right over the top of the island that was here before, with a dining room back this way, but it still kind of divided. You couldn't see anything that way. We get morning light through the east windows, and it's just a lot more. We don't use the lights nearly as much now, I guess. So.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a lot more chopped up, and I'm glad you guys were able to get some more space in here. Thinking back to, before we started this project, was there anything that kind of pushed you guys to pull the trigger on this? Was there anything that stood out to you guys?
Like I said, my wife Sandy had been wanting to do it for quite a while, but I'm tighter than 2 coats of paint, so I was dragging my feet on it. And once the kids got through college, we did like everybody else. It seems like once their kids get through college and leave house, then they update their home, But we decided. I love the neighborhood. I love the neighbors. We refer to this as South Milan because we're south of Milan, so that's our little moniker that we have. But we didn't want to move, and we just needed to update something. And now that the kids are out of school and we weren't paying for school, it was time to do that. So
yeah. Are you guys happy you decided to stay here versus?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like I said, our son and daughter-in-law live right across the road from us now. So even if we did want to move someplace else, couldn't do it. We have 3 grandkids right across the road from us, so it's kind of a dream right now, I guess. We like our lot. We have, there's plenty of things to do out here, and it's kind of your own little community or whatever. So, but
that's awesome.
And so, like I said, we just needed to update the house to make it more open, more functional. When the neighbors walk in now, they say, "But it smells like a new house." It looks like a new house and smells like a new house. Depending on what time of day they come in, it smells like a new house. But
so tell me a little bit about how the design process worked for you guys. Was it pretty smooth and easy, or did you guys feel overwhelmed during it?
No, we weren't overwhelmed. You can tell us more about that because you designed it. Because
I'm just trying to get your experience.
But and we were glad that you did that, because a lot of places it seem like you go to and they give you 1,000 different options. We don't want 1,000 different options. It just confuses us. So you were able to kind of say, hey, this is what I would suggest, this or this or this, and everything that you picked turned out perfect. So your communication skills and just the readiness of you being able to help us out with things made things go smooth from start to finish, I guess. So
yeah, I mean, this was a really smooth project. I mean, I think overall it was like 3 months long.
Yeah.
And we finished within like a week.
Yeah.
When we were supposed to.
Yeah, absolutely. You gave us like a flow chart or whatever at the beginning of it, and everything was, the first 2 weeks or, the demo period. Then after that, the guys came in and did the drywall. And after that, the mud guys came in, then the electricians, blah, 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 blah. And everything, you could look at your little flow chart, timeline, and everything was pretty much right on track. I mean, it was no surprises. We lived in the basement for the 3 months. When I say that, we slept in our bed up here. The bedrooms and stuff are all redone too, but there was no walls moved or anything. It was just basically new trim, new doors and painted, new flooring. But our bed, we slept in our bed, but we lived downstairs. But that was anybody would do that. You don't have a kitchen,
Right.
So we had a makeshift kitchen downstairs, and it worked out well. And it's not like
you guys always seem pretty comfortable while we were here.
Yeah, it wasn't. We weren't roughing it too bad. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's actually something a lot of people struggle with is, like, believe it or not, the trim work. So it's kind of like if you change the trim out in one area of your home, like say you just did your kitchen, well then you got to do the whole rest of your house to make it match. And you guys elected to change everything out and really update everything. Are you guys happy you went that route?
Absolutely. I mean, before everything was, it was like a stained, kind of a reddish stained pine, I guess. And it was probably good for 1982, but it didn't look like, 2025. So yeah, we kept our original, their Pella windows. I like the windows, and they worked fine and everything. We just had those painted. All your subcontractors did a great job as far as taking care of everything. We moved our clothes out of the closet. They painted inside trim of the closet, and everything matches from start to finish. And at the end of each day, whatever contractor was in here, it was cleaned up. It wasn't like you were stepping on nails or anything, walking through insulation or anything like that. It was all cleaned up at the end of each day, so we could go from the basement to our bedroom or whatever. And
which is a big deal, especially if you're living here, because like the last thing you want to worry about is your two dogs stepping on nails or like getting up in the middle of the night and
it was like I said, everybody did a great job. All the contractors, the electricians, the plumbers, the painters, the trimmers, the trim carpenters, all did a great job, like I said. And I would say maybe whatever the last half hour, 45 minutes of each day was cleanup time.
So how did you guys find out about us, like before we even started talking?
Our daughter-in-law actually kind of was an acquaintance with your wife, and she had told us about it. And then my wife Sandy got on your website or whatever, and we were kind of looking at some stuff on the web. And my dad was a carpenter, and I'm not a carpenter, but my dad was a carpenter. But you can tell good work from shoddy work, and all the stuff that we saw seemed to be real good, like you're a perfectionist, I guess, and we like that, so that's when we got in touch with you. And then you were real good about getting back in touch with us and keeping the communication lines open. So super easy to work with. So that's kind of, I guess, our daughter-in-law, I guess, that's how we kind of find out about it. I found out about you. So
well, that's awesome. Then thank you for saying that. So now that you've been through the remodel, how is your guys' life different than what it was before?
Sandy's a lot happier. So it's open. It's open. Like I said, it's well lit. And like I said, we took out 2 fireplaces that we never used, and we have one that, well, we haven't used it this summer. There's been no need for it, but I'm sure we'll use it this fall and winter.
Do you guys feel like you can entertain more
Absolutely,
now.
yeah. But before, like the family dinners and stuff, we have a barn. We'd have to go out to the barn and set up that, because if you could get 6 people into a room, there'd be 6 people in this room, 6 people in this room, 6 people downstairs or whatever, you know. So nobody could get into one common area unless we were out in the barn. So it's for like Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever. It's going to turn out. We didn't have it for Thanksgiving and Christmas this last year, but we will next year, or this year coming up, I guess. So
yeah, it's always funny because like a lot of the kitchen remodels we do, the conversation kind of centers around those times a year where it's like Christmas, Thanksgiving, holidays. Yeah. But it's funny because like we only have a lot of people in here like 6 days a year. Yeah. But those are important conversations.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the times you remember. You know?
Important conversations for like how we make the space, like open, you know, an island to gather at. So yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, between the island and the table here, living room over there. I mean, I don't know what you could seat, but I mean, you could seat a lot more than 6 people. You know, so
yeah, definitely. So do you guys have like a favorite feature of everything that we've done in here?
I like myself. I like the fact that everything's open now, and it's all well lit. Sandy, I know, loves the cupboards, the cabinets, and everything that they have, because they're just, like I say, if you go through now, before there was stuff stacked on top of stuff. We had like I say, a built-in pantry, but the shelves were like this. Well, your soup can's this tall, so you have a foot of wasted space. Well, these all have pull-outs, and you can, like I say, you can put more stuff in that little area there than what we had in, say, a 5-foot by 3-foot pantry before, because there's just so much wasted space in there, and there's not in this. It's just so much more functional and open, I guess. So.
How about your appliances? I know these are all new except for the dishwasher, but how are your new appliances?
Everything is well, the dishwasher we'd had about a year before we had the remodel, but we just went ahead and went with the appliances. We got the 5-burner gas stove, and the thing I like about the refrigerator, it tells you the temperature when you open it up. Oh, yeah. You know, so you can say, yeah, my beer's not quite cold enough. So you could turn it down a little bit. You don't have to guess about it. But everything works super well. And we never had the microwave that we had before was above the stove. And the other thing that I like is the vent fan on this. Sandy makes a lot of bacon, so in summertime we have BLTs about 3 times a week. Yeah. But you turn that vent on, and it doesn't smell like bacon for 3 days after you. Yeah. Make a bunch of bacon. She makes it in the oven, but that vent fan sucks it out of here really well.
Yeah, I'm a much bigger fan of the vent hoods, just because like the microwaves, they just seem to like clog and not really work as well over time.
Yeah, they basically just make noise, but you still smell everything that you just cooked. But this stuff here sucks it out. It's like I don't know, industrial or something. I don't know, like you're going into a school and you
Awesome. Well, I mean, overall, I love your guys' project. I think it's beautiful. I'm really happy for you guys. Would you recommend Riverbend Kitchens to
Absolutely.
Some of your friends?
And we have. I mean, there's been a couple people that have asked me how our project is going, and they're interested, and I've given them your name.
Oh, thank you.
And but absolutely, I would in a heartbeat, because, like I said, everything, there was never a surprise. You said, here's how much it's going to be. When we came up with some things like, Sandy wanted to take that closet out. But the adder wasn't, I mean, you could have gouged the heck out of us on that, and you didn't, you know, because it was just something that you said, it wasn't like, here's your teaser price to get her foot in the door, and then all the changes are going to mount up. There was nothing like that. I mean, everything, I was calling you to say, hey, do you need more money? You know, it wasn't, you calling me saying, hey, I need all this. I think the only thing we paid for up front was the cupboards, because they have to get made or whatever, But everything else, it was like I didn't want to be the guy that was dragging the feet and having you come knock at my door. So, but no, I absolutely in a heartbeat would recommend you. And like I say, we do. We and all your subcontractors that have came in. I know one of the flawless finishes, the painter guys have went over and did the neighbor's house because so I mean, they've I don't know if I'm supposed to give them a plug or not, but I just did. But
I love that.
and the other thing I'll say is, we have our dog and our son's dog, and then we have a cat. Well, I actually have two cats. One cat's going to hide the whole time. But all the contractors, they were letting dogs in and out all day long like we do. They got to know them. What was her name? Lindsay, the painter from Flawless Finish, was down putting tape along the floor when she was taping, and our cat Randy jumps up on her back and just kind of rode her out for like a half an hour on this thing. So, I mean, they're not only good to us, they were good to our pets, you know. So, my sister just went through building a house. And there's a zillion different things that you can go into, but even things simple like the cupboard handles, the pulls and stuff. Matt showed us that design. Said, yeah, and put them on the closet doors over here too, you know. And the trim on the fireplace, the edging of the trim there, the tile on the fireplace. I mean, all that stuff was. You made our decision for us, or you didn't make our decision for us. You said, here's a couple things, and we said, yeah, we like that, rather than giving us a catalog with 700 things in there and having us flip through it all. You said, these two work out well. So, I mean, just the fact that this morning I called you just to tell you that they were going to be working on the road, boom, answers the phone right away. That you don't get that very often these days, it seems like.
Yeah.
You get some AI guy talking. You press 1 for English, and you get somebody that doesn't speak English, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, I really enjoyed working with you guys, and yeah, I'm just really glad we could make this happen for you. You know, your home is beautiful, and you guys are great people.
You. I mean,
so.
Yeah, our home wasn't beautiful. I mean, you made it. It was comfortable, but you made it nice, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, thank you guys, and yeah, got everything, Phil? Good.
All right. I didn't even cuss.
Yeah.